Something that has played with me in the last year is the importance of contrast in life. Like, you wouldn't know the other if you didn't taste the other, right? And for you to see a buffet and a child scraping garbage, just this contrast taught you that this is ridiculous that we're hearing complaints about a buffet when somebody can't. If you never saw that and all you knew was buffets, you think this is the norm. It's okay to complain about a caviar or a buffet or a fork. But contrast really makes human beings compare in a healthy way sometimes, or I hope in a lot of times. You said also that ego never served anyone. Do you think that applies also to sports, for example, or business? That can ego actually serve you if controlled?
That's a great question. I think the first part, I really love that point you just made. I think it's such a powerful point that you just drew out. And I never saw it like that in that scenario. But I agree with that point of, I think if we were exposed to more opposites growing up, it would help us find our middle. It would help us find our gray. But we're not. We're just exposed to one type of lifestyle. And I think if we were exposed to more contrast, more paradoxes, more opposites, more seemingly challenging things, it would actually expand our horizons and expand our mind, not close it. I think we're scared that if someone sees something, it's going to scare them or it's going to worry them, but actually it helps them become more thoughtful. And I think that's one of the things that's become so important to me, that I wouldn't have become who I am today if I didn't meet the monks. But if someone asked me at 16 whether I wanted to be a monk or meet a monk, I would have said no. Like, I would have chucked a bottle of alcohol at them, right? Like, as in the reaction would have been like, you're so stupid. That's ridiculous. And so I think most of us are just too exposed to the same people, the same faces, the same things, or we're exposed to the same parts of people. That's one of the things I think you try and do, and I try and do on my podcast, is even if you know someone, I want you to see a deeper side of them, a new side of them, a side that you're not aware of, because it's not that that person is one-dimensional at all. And even today, as I'm sharing with you, I feel like anyone who listens to and watches this will be like, oh, I'm learning about Jay in a way that I've never learned about Jay before. And that's a healthy thing to do. So, but anyway, going back to your second question about ego. Ego can be used to achieve great things. But after the achievement of those great things, it will then fail us once again. And so yes, in business, ego can be used to achieve astronomical success. In sports, ego can be engaged to win incredible championships. But in the end, ego is the same thing that will break you and lead to your ultimate failure, because the real battle was with ego, not with the sports team and not with the other game and not with the other team and not with the other business person. The real battle was with your ego. And so I think that confidence and ego are two separate things. I think a lot of athletes that I admire, and I'm guessing we admire some similar athletes, they have a confidence that they are the best, but they back it up and they have the ability to still glorify and appreciate someone else. Ego is lacking the capacity to appreciate, glorify, and admire others in public. If you struggle to hear good things about someone else and to join in and to be a part of that and to celebrate that, that's ego. If you struggle to acknowledge, you may say I'm the best in the world. You can say you're the best in the world, sure. But even the best in the world, if you really sat down with them, they would happily talk about someone else that inspires them to be the best in the world. They'll never say they're self-made. They'll say that I'm the best in the world because I have 10 people around me who are amazing. Look at you have a huge team around you today. I would assume that, you're getting to do this because you have a team around you. It's how I feel. Like, we have an incredible team. Like, I can walk around thinking that I'm doing something phenomenal in the world, but I know that it's brought by a team. So ego is when you lack the ability to acknowledge that there are other people in your journey, that there are other people adding value to the world, that there are other people who are improving the world in their own way, and that there's space for everyone. Ego says there's only space for me. And I think that ultimately will lead to someone's demise, because it's just not true. And ego's set up that way. It has to be broken by the time we die in order to let us live. And if we don't break our ego, life will break it for you. And I've seen that many times in my own life in little ways. And I've seen it many times in people that I've coached. I've seen it many times in people that I know, where it's much easier to relinquish your own ego. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of stress. And ego doesn't mean you don't have the confidence that you're brilliant at what you do. I think I'm really good at what I do. I'm very comfortable saying that. But that doesn't mean that I think I'm better than others. I just think I am who I am. I'm just different. And I think that's the human construct, that in modern society, we've made people think you either have to be better or worse than others. You're either ahead or behind of others. You're either early or late compared to other people. And I'm just like, I'm just different. My timing is different. My opportunity is different. My voice is different. My background is different. And that applies to you. It applies to everyone in our space. It applies to everyone outside of our space. We're just different. It wasn't ever about being better or worse. I mean, you talk about soccer, right, or football. Like, I'm a CR7 guy all the way, but you know, it's like the constant debate of who's better between CR7 and Messi. It's like, they're just different. They are genuinely different players. They played different positions in their career. They've played in different places. They played in different teams. Like, in one sense, if we acknowledge that difference is what makes us special and beautiful and what makes everyone phenomenal, and we can appreciate that, we stop getting lost. And what we don't realize is when we compare ourselves to others, so if we think we're behind, then when we get ahead, we're going to be scared of the people behind us, because we know that we caught up and we beat someone who was number one. Now we're scared of their number two. And so you keep staying in that cycle of like, I'm ahead, now I'm behind, I'm ahead, I'm behind, I'm ahead. And that's just going to go on forever. Like, I don't think Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are sitting there looking at the rich list going, oh, I'm number two now, man. Like, oh my God, like, got to get back up to number one. Like, who's that LVMH guy who's like, you know.
You know, Jay, if people, I'm a very practical, logical guy. If we just use logic and I say Jay is Jay, he's a certain height, certain looks, certain eye color, certain skin color, certain personality, certain childhood, certain journey, logic. And I say, Anas, you're the same. So it's already not apples to apples. So I can't say, how can I beat him? Or how can I be better than him? I'm not competing.
Yeah.
It's a pineapple and a chair. It's you can't just make that comparison logically. And but people are under the perception of all human beings I should compare myself to. A girl compares herself to another girl or another actress. And the comparison is really dangerous, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know how their life is, their mental state, their money actually in the bank. You don't know anything. So this comparison is already flawed from the beginning, logically. So the moment you're like, how can I be better? You know, software 1.0, 1.1, 1.5, 2. And until I die, I am at the best version of Jay. Yeah. The best. I really worked on myself, and this is the best Jay I could give.
Yeah, well said.
Then we're good.
Yeah, really well said. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that allows you to be inspired by others. I think it's really interesting, right? Comparison can work two ways. You can either compare yourself to someone and say, I wish I was them. Or you can compare yourself to them and say, I'm going to learn that. Right? I see what they learned. I see what they studied. I think I do that. I've done that my whole life, where I compare myself to so many people, but in a positive sense of, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. Or if they learned that, then how did they learn that? What do I need to learn? What am I missing? And then comparison becomes this beautiful thing 100%. Because it's inspiring. It's energizing.
Yeah, you can come and learn, Anas, use this camera. Maybe I can use it. That's a good comparison.
Exactly.
It's a very good point. So comparison can be positive and negative.
Yeah.